Greetings, guys. Welcome now to our brand new episode of Redemption with the Rock. And I'm your host, MrYazMan300. And now joining me, guys, back again are Kai and Andy. How are you guys doing?
Hi. Fine, I guess.
Yeah. And joining us for the first time is Lee. How are you doing, Lee?
Doing great. Ready to talk about this movie and all the wonderful things it brought.
Yeah.
Oh.
So how are you guys doing? How was your weekend? How was everyone doing since our last time we recorded an episode?
I think the last time I still had the flu, and I went for a weekend in Dresden with some of the friends that I had. And let me say, Dresden is like 600 kilometers away, and it was a fucking long drive there. So don't do this.
Okay.
Noted.
But it was quite fun. It was really, really fun there.
How about you, Andy? How was your day?
It's been good, as I'm not sure if any know, but I thought we were doing this a week ago, so I started watching this.
I saw your tweet.
I got 5 minutes into it, realised it was next week. Thought, fuck this shit, I can watch anything else, and I watched Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Old Doctor Who, and it was good, not current shit.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a discussion for another day. So how about you, Lee?
Good. Went out to dinner last night, and the building next to where I was having dinner caught on fire. So
Really?
it was an eventful
What the
evening. Yeah. It's like
It
a
was
huge
quite a
flame.
date night, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. Sounds like everyone was having a time, like good or bad. For me, I was also doing well. You know, last week we were supposed to record it last week, but I know people now were listening to say, man, the time sounds in because we'll be lost. Because those who haven't not heard, I'm launching the podcast in May. So by the time you guys are watching, it's already been out. And also, before we begin, like, you know, I don't know if I told you guys, Mark might preview one of the episodes, but I have not decided which episode. What do you think? Do you want us to give us our yoga houses episode? The one that might get us cancelled?
Which bit? On reflection, we said a really lot of dumb shit, which,
Man, I can't
if
wait for
anyone
everyone
watches
to
this
see it.
after, I'm not going to say what it is, but me and Mark may have used a word that in England does not mean what it means in America. And I didn't realise till after, we should have made that perfectly clear that word does not at all mean that in England. It's,
I think I know exactly what word you guys used.
yes.
And to be fair, we did clarify some stuff about...
we did clarify it, but it was like, I feel like not enough. Like, there's not enough clarification you can ever use for that one. So we do apologise to anybody who was offended by that.
we
That was
apologize,
definitely not the intention.
like Andy said, we apologize, but don't worry, we'll fix everything and the next time.
We'll still say come down. We'll still...
I don't know, we already might learn from a mistake when YouTube demonetize us or maybe block us. God, man, we did demonetize.
We used every swear word we could.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we haven't run about the dictionary. We only used the British one. We haven't used the American one too. Oh yeah. So, man, with today's movie, man, I hope you guys are not mad at me for picking this one. Because I know Andy was mad for the last episode.
Somehow, every time I watch this movie, I never remember it badly. But then when I watch it, it's always worse than I remember.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then. So, for those who actually don't know what this podcast is, our Redemption of the Rotten is a podcast where a group of me and a group of our friends, we sit down, we look at a movie that has been badly received by critics or has a very divisive response. So, this week we decided to go and look at Batman and Robin, the classic movie that's considered to be one of the worst films ever. And before we should talk about Batman and Robin, let's begin first by the Batman's history. When looking into Batman history, man, it's a very, very complicated history. Sometimes you see him like it's fun and happy, then it gets dark, then it gets happy, dark, dark. Because if you remember, Batman, I think, first became to mainstream was with, was it 1966 with Adam West?
Yeah, Adam West was like,
Yeah, and he was fun, and of course, it was fun Batman with the bam, boom, boom. Boy, you know, I've been playing Lego Batman figures and I just finished that level, the bonus level where you played that 1966. Boy, that was fun. So anyhow, so people they tried doing like a film about, that's the one with the shark repellent. And that one, I think, if I'm mistaken, it didn't do well because most people, they were associating it mostly as a TV show. And they was like, we need to try making Batman a movie, because at that time, a few years later, they brought back, Richard Donner brought Superman, and they was like, hey, we did Superman, let's bring Batman. And then they brought in Tim Burton, and we got the Tim Burton Batman, the 1989 classic. It's actually one of my favorite film of all time.
It's good, and Tim Burton really brought the darkness to Batman originally, at least for the late 80s, early 90s. That was not seen, that people were used to with Adam West, which was super campy and very fun to look back on. And actually, I look back at it very fondly because it was the style of the time, and it's so ridiculous that you have to appreciate their vision of what it was. But you also have to appreciate Tim Burton's vision of like bring it dark, like Dark Knight, basically.
Yeah.
And I remember being a kid watching Batman Returns, being terrified of the Penguin.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. It was creepy.
Because we talked about how and because the reason I think this work was like they knew exactly what they were doing with the tone. Apologies, guys. And then of course, like Lee mentioned, Batman Returns, because when that film came out, despite I think it was a commercial and critical hit, but parents were afraid of the film because how scary and dark it was. Scenes like Penguin doing stuff like there's a scene where I forgot, I have not seen the film, but I knew that one scene that he bites a guy's ear, and there's a scene where I remember I saw it recently when a guy was reviewing a film. He talks about that he actually, when he's placing a pin on a woman's chest, he sees him grabbing like her boobs or tits, whatever it is. It's just like people like, wow, this, and then they're selling Happy Meals and toys like of these characters, like, wow, we can't sell these toys if this Penguin doing all this creepy stuff. So after that, it was like, hey, you know what, we need to do something different. So they went and they got Joel Schumacher to direct this film. Well, let me just rephrase it. To direct Batman Forever first. That film actually was, because if I'm not mistaken, I have been a while since I've seen this film, because for this podcast I only saw Batman and Robin. I didn't revisit any of the other Batman films. Did you guys revisit the other Batman films or just Batman and Robin?
Just Batman and Robin, but I think 1 or 2 years ago I rewatched all 4 movies began for rewatch, and you definitely see the shift in tone from Tim Burton directly to Joel Schumacher. It's really like a transition where he takes like the world that is being conceived in the original Tim Burton movies, and then slightly adding like the 1966 campiness of it back into those things, and this is a weird combination of those styles.
Yeah. So
it's getting even further in this one when we're talking about it later.
All right. Kai, pardon to know, but are you standing?
Yes.
That's a heads up, because for those who are listening, Kai is like he's standing. That's a
healthy motherfucker.
I got myself an IKEA table that's like
good.
I can put up and down.
All right. So where was it? Oh yes. So Batman Forever. Like Joel Schumacher came and he took over the franchise, and the film it got some positive response. Also, some people like really like how different the tone is. But it was a huge hit, and because of the success of the film, and Warner Bros. They fast tracked the sequels. Like, hey, we need to do Batman and Robin. So this is what we're talking about. So this film, Batman and Robin, like you mentioned, they brought back Joel Schumacher to direct it. And what's interesting enough, they recasted Batman. Val Kilmer did not come back, to replace him with George Clooney. And then for the villains, they brought back who was one of the biggest, movie star at that time, Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's how I pronounce his name, right?
Schwarzenegger.
Or in like German tongue, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay. It's a good thing we have a German person with us, because for Man City we had the German ethics. Thank God Kai was there to correct our spelling.
Oh yeah, that was Bane.
Then we see Chris O'Donnell comes back as Robin, and we see what's her name, Uma Thurman joining the film as what's her name, Poison Ivy, and also lastly we got Alicia Silverstone coming on the heels of Clueless. She's joining him as Batgirl. And also we see the other cast members who are returning. We include Michael Gough. He comes back as Commissioner Gordon. Pat Hingle. He comes back as Michael Gough is Alfred. Pat Hingle is Commissioner Gordon. And then we also have new cast members. We got John Glover. He plays the doctor, mad scientist in the beginning of the film. We also got David wrestler. His name is Jeep. What's his name? Where is his Jeep? There's this. Oh yes, Jeep Swenson as he comes to play Bane.
Yeah.
Also we. Yeah. Also.
Yeah, he died. He died shortly after the movie was finished, and he died before the movie was
2 months after. I think.
Yeah, I think the shoot wrapped, and then he died 1 or 2 months afterwards before the movie came out.
Yeah, it's a sad story.
Sad, actually.
So especially since, honestly, I think Bane is one of the highlights of this movie. Just big, dumb Bane, just repeating whatever last word was said, and then smashing something. Best part of the movie.
And you understand him more than Tom Hardy's Bane.
Yes.
And the funny thing is, actually, he wasn't the character Bane itself wasn't really that old by that time. I think Bane was, if I look it up correctly, the first appearance of Bane in the comics was in 1993.
Yes, I'm seeing.
And this movie came out in 1997, so it was pretty fast addition to the
Maybe this because they seemed this character is famous. Let's bring him in. I think that was the reason because he was a big deal when Bane came out. It's he's the guy who broke the Batman, and that's why I think he was the biggest deal. Bane. But that's why they were he's popular. Let's bring him in.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this film actually became very notorious. By the way, John Glover, he plays Dr. Jason Woodrue, and for those of you who don't know, John Glover has history working with the DC films. He was, the Riddler in the animated Batman series. He played Lex Luthor's dad in Smallville, and he was Savannah's dad in Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now
he's very well established in that canon.
I look familiar.
Yeah.
I remember him from Smallville.
I actually, I remember when I saw him in Shazam, I didn't know that he was cast in the film. I was like, hey, is that the guy, who voices the Riddler, who was also in Batman v Superman? Then when I saw his name, it is him. Okay, so what was it? Oh yeah, so this film, I forgot to see I had the Rotten score. Yeah. So this film actually has an infamous 12% on Rotten Tomato and a C+ cinema score. To talk about it, and it made over $238 million on a reported $160 million budget.
Yeah, but it also, it bombed at the box office, but the merchandising, I'm sure, made up for a lot of it.
Mm.
Yeah, but the word of mouth was so bad that Warner Bros. Decided not to do a sequel because they were gonna. You want to talk about it?
It basically killed the franchise up until 2005. So it's really, really bad for the entire DCU movie franchise by that point.
Yeah, and Joel Schumacher took all the heat. It's like, if you want to blame someone, blame me. I'm the guy who did this, and it's funny because
there's also this one thing about George Clooney. It's whenever someone tells him that he went to he or she went to the theater directly, then he basically gives them the money back. That's a really, really interesting thing. And if I would be seeing George Clooney at one point, because I went to the theater actually when it came out, so basically I would be getting I don't know, €5 or so for that.
What time were the ticket prices at that time? Because now it's different.
Gotta be $5-7. It was not expensive back in the day.
How much do you have to pay for a theater in the US?
Right now, I went and saw Sonic 2 for $13.
Wow.
It's £17. That's ridiculous.
And I'm going to clarify, this is which version? Is it a standard theater or is it IMAX anything?
It was a standard theater.
Yeah.
It's a fancy standard theater, but it's a standard theater.
Yeah. If that's the thing, because there's different. Or you want the normal, you want the IMAX, you want the Dolby Atmos system, etc. Because that's how another prices. Man, if Batman and Robin came out, and you have to exactly pay you the amount, which version you have to go, and you have to go check the prices. Just imagine. And he also talks about, like, I saw him in Graham Notice, like, he asked him, do you apologize for Batman and Robin? He's like, I always apologize for Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, this movie would not... Most people would wait for streaming to watch this movie.
Yes.
You know, similar to, like say, Morbius.
Well, that's making money.
That's exactly.
How much was the drop for
right
that
now.
film? This is the worst superhero drop.
Yeah, it went from, like, a decent opening weekend to, like, nothing the next weekend.
Thank God.
Crap.
Yeah.
Has any of you guys seen the film? Because Andy, I know he hasn't.
No, I think we're all doing the Kevin thing. We all fucking refuse to watch that.
I'm also waiting it until it comes out on VOD. And
It's going to be on Netflix because I know that Sony has a first deal with Netflix to release their movies there.
And I'll see it on Netflix.
Yeah, that'll do.
I mean,
Maybe
Netflix
in the
needs
US,
something now that they're losing subscribers. Maybe Morbius will help them.
I doubt it. I really doubt it. I will say, though, like, if this movie came out today, like, straight to streaming, it would be, honestly, probably a streaming hit. Like, I'm sure millions upon millions of people would watch it and be like, oh my God, this movie is ridiculous. Get drunk, watch this movie, it's perfect for streaming. And people would watch it the first weekend and never think about it ever again.
Yeah, because the same thing I remember happened with Cats, because I remember seeing Seth Rogen tweeting about it. He's like, oh, don't worry, guys, I'm high if I'm writing anything weird. Yeah. You know, we should just, start talking about the film, because some people's like, why are we talking about Morbius? Those who are wondering, Morbius, maybe we might do it one day in the future. I'll have Andy be part of it too.
You know, for a minute then, I thought you were going to say we should start talking about Cats, but you've said something much worse. Watching Morbius is so much better.
You know that this movie is bad when people would rather watch Cats over Morbius.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that movie we're about to talk now is better than Morbius by 100%.
I don't think it's much worse than this.
I also have like 2 Star Trek Picard related issues with this movie again, which is a very strange combination to say.
Is it that rumor that they wanted Patrick Stewart to
Exactly, that's the thing. Back in the 90s, I was reading Starlog. This is like a sci-fi magazine that came from, I think, either the UK or the US, and they had like a translated version in Germany also. And they had like this rumor page in it. And for some reason, there was this one rumor circulating that Patrick Stewart is going to be Mr. Freeze in this one. And I was very, very bummed to learn afterwards that Arnold Schwarzenegger got the role. Of course, it became the movie that it became eventually, but it would have been like a very interesting thing if you would be in this alternate kind of universe to see Mr. Freeze being done by Sir Patrick Stewart at that point. And but it turns out, like in the document that you sent, and this one Hollywood Reporter like FAQ document, there was this one questionnaire with Joel Schumacher afterwards, shortly before he died, when they were asking him about this rumor that went around by that time. And I think it was actually being established by Entertainment Weekly by that time. I found some document and some afterwards.
You know how it's happened, the rumor, right? It got created?
No.
Basically, the guy who was the storyboard, I have it right here.
Some storyboard artist.
Yeah, I mean, he was reading the dialogues, because the dialogues were different. They were not as funny as how it came out to be. He said they were very Shakespearean, and he had Patrick Stewart in mind when he drew the cartoon, but that's how it came out. Then Arnold came and they had to rewrite the script, because you don't see Arnold doing Shakespeare unless... Unlike that scene from Last Man Standing, I think he does, I think, Shakespeare.
And the other thing is, if you look at the the cast credits, you also find a very interesting name about the writers, because this movie was written by Akiva Goldsman, who
Academy
later on
Award winner
became
Akiva Goldsman.
Academy Award winning Akiva Goldsman for Beautiful Mind, who later on became.
And if I'm not mistaken, Beautiful Mind came after this film, right?
Yeah, it was like 2000 or 2001 when.
I mean, Akiva Goldsman, he has some hits and misses. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, he did also watch that Lost in Space, you know. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he do Lost in Space, the movie? Yeah, he did after Batman and Robin. He did Lost in Space.
Maybe that's why I don't like Picard, because it's written by the person who did this.
I mean, he also wrote the story for Transformers last night. That's something.
That's more in my favor. That's more shit.
But he is also like iRobot on his thing.
Okay,
like,
I mean, he wrote Cinderella Man. That's a good film. Beautiful Mind. Yeah. I mean, he has history also working with Schumacher. He wrote The Client and A Time to Kill.
Yep.
You know, it's funny because I'm looking at his credit with That Time to Kill got nominated for Golden Raspberry for worst written film grossing over 100 million. Man, the Razzies. And it's another fun fact about Akiva Goldsman. Yeah, he directed A Winter Still. That's the one where Will Smith plays the devil. If you guys remember, there was a scene that went viral where Will Smith is actually the devil. He did this film too.
Is it based on Shakespeare's Winter's Tale? I don't think so.
It's a novel called Winter's Tale by Mark Halperin. It had Colin Farrell in it and Jennifer Connelly, William Hart, Russell Crowe.
I have not seen that one. But yeah, so Batman and Robin, it's a cacophony of just a bunch of bad ideas, or actually decent ideas, poor execution.
Yeah. That's the
thing. Were the puns ever a good idea?
I mean, when you get $25 million, you're allowed to say in the amount of puns you're allowed to say.
I mean, I love a good pun, but...
I'd say the puns helped Schwarzenegger's dialogue way more than Uma Thurman's dialogue.
And one thing
at least the puns can be funny.
Yeah. And then we'll talk about this. So I think we should start by talking about the film. So the opening logo begins. It's very reddish. We see the actor's name. And like we mentioned, like when we talked about it with Man Steel with Kai, Arnold got top billing over George Clooney. And you hear about because he was at that time the biggest star in Hollywood. George Clooney had just becoming a rising star. He did ER, and I don't know if he left ER before doing this or he was still with them.
I think he left before, but I don't know the timeline.
Yeah, because I know that he was in ER, and then like I said, Arnold got top billing. He got paid $25 million, which by now that's like Robert Downey Jr. Marvel money. Like if you hear that's like that was the time like a big deal story. And then the opening credits begin with them dressing up. They focus on the crouch, the nipples, and the butt. And one thing I do like about the butt is he made sure that they jiggle. You guys noticed?
Yeah, and go ahead, Andy.
Oh no, you go on. I was just gonna make a joke.
I was gonna say, yeah, the butt shots were very gratuitous, and it had a very, very defined line for the crack. Very defined.
It got right in there.
Yeah.
And I like that this is what people are more upset over in the film, like the nipples and the butt crack over the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean it's a weird choice to put nipples because you don't think about nipples unless you show them. You really don't think about it.
Another thing actually.
And they don't.
Did like because now recently a lot of people are talking about it because now in the Batman they did was like you see the mask is kind of you see the black makeup around their eyes, but when they remove it it's not. Because I have not seen the new Batman movie because I know that Robert Pattinson he sprayed his eyes to cover it, right?
Yeah. I saw it 2 days ago and it was amazing actually.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, because because now we're having Ramadan. After Ramadan, I'm going to see the film. We already planned everything.
One small addition, I just looked it up. He left. George Clooney left ER 2 years after Batman and Robin.
So he still had some money with ER money.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked out for him. That he did work with Steven Soderbergh. I'm not mistaken. After this, he did Out of Sight and the Ocean films. He was doing well, and he got
And
he
he
won
also-
Oscar too.
And he also did Solaris, which was a crappy movie.
It was.
Yeah. At least
But,
he,
I mean,
he
good on
gave us
George Clooney.
Argo. Like he produced Argo, he won an Oscar. I mean, he's doing now well for him. He's I think
Yeah,
one of the highest paid actors in the world, mostly for this commercial.
I think he's doing fine.
Yeah.
He's not hurting.
He's doing better than Chris O'Dowd.
Are you telling
Yeah.
me that CSI Los Angeles is not doing well for him? How many
I think
seasons?
it's ended now, isn't it?
No, that's New Orleans. Let me see CSI. I mean, him and Lil Cool need the money. Now, what's CSI? I mean, in CIS. Why does it?
NCIS, yeah. With the weird
It got
brother
renewed for a
and
14th
real life
season.
sister-in-law. 14 seasons, that's ridiculous. That's
Him and Cool J need the money.
clearly.
Yeah. So what was I? Oh yeah. So good.
297 episodes. What the hell?
I just want to.
I haven't seen one of them.
Yeah, they just crank him out like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and
I
the
just like
original
it
one, if
whenever
I'm
they
not
go-
mistaken, Mark Harmon is leaving the show.
Yeah, he's left now.
He did?
Yeah, it ended last season.
Hmm.
I don't know why I know that.
Because it was a big deal story because some people thought that's a different story from another story. So, anyhow, so like I said, after the butt crack and the nipples, you see the automobile. The guy is having a time with laughing.
Yeah, it's every time you're mentioning butt cracks and nipples, that's the thing.
I'm pretty sure this is gonna get us more demonetized now, but not cancelled, but mostly
it's all good.
demonetized.
I think we are safe. It's beyond the 16-second line.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're gonna give us a pass for yoga, I wouldn't be surprised if they give a pass to yoga hostel, but they block this because for the nipples and the butts.
They understand nipples and butts
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Let me clarify: male nipples and butts. That would be easier for them.
I don't think that the algorithm knows that.
I mean, if Channing Tatum can show his ass and get the film PG-13 rating, that'd be fine.
Does the Batgirl's costume have nipples?
Yes.
No nipples.
No
But
nipples on that
it-
one?
They look like
But definitely
something,
butt.
but pointy, like something like a. But there's a butt, but I don't think there's a butt crack.
Oh, at least they have some taste and standards, They know where the limit is.
Yeah.
it's equal opportunity
Yeah.
butt cracks.
I mean, they show
Everywhere.
her when they're dressing. They show her butt like twice. One when she's
I'm
dressing up.
quite saddened. I'm quite saddened that we are not getting the Alfred butt crack close up thingy.
I'm pretty sure
It'd be
that
really saggy,
Alfred's
though.
the last person whose butt crack you want to see. Unless you want to see Arnold's butt crack also.
Oh wow!
I imagine that's just as muscly. Like,
That's the definition there.
Okay, so they actually, like I said, man, 30 minutes and we're still talking about the butt crack. We're still in the beginning of the film.
it's the
Cracking
butt,
up
the
about
crack
butt cracks.
Okay, so where was it? Oh yes, so after the dress up, you see him like they bring up the Batmobile and the what's it? Do they call something the bike or is it just the bike? Something
The
like
red
that.
something, isn't it?
Yeah. Red cycle or something like that. I mean,
We got
Whatever it
Robin's
is,
bike,
you get-
something like the
The
bike.
Robin bike.
yeah.
And I would say I actually do like the design on the how like the Batmobile looks like. I mean, it's not as good as what's Tim Burton's Batmobile, but I actually do like the design of it. And I do like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it's cool. Like, it's a cool design with like all the neon lights, and that's the thing that Joel Schumacher obviously has going for him is all the neon, the glowing paint, the neon lights. That's what his vision was, which is very 90s.
I mean, if you look at his background, he comes from custom design background, so that's why you see all the stylish his movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they go on the car and they leave, and before they leave, we see Alfred like he's in hurt, like he's in the pain, which we later find out later that he's dying. And that's
The most unneeded subplot of all time.
With the biggest convenience.
Biggest
Yeah.
convenience and the quickest wrap up.
Man, all right. So let's see. So they leave, and he gets a call from Commissioner Gordon now on the Batmobile, and I would tell you this, man. That looks like crap. That camera. And I was like,
Straight
okay.
out like the '60s show with just the little thing.
And where the hell is he hearing it? Does he has a speaker, a headphone in his ear, like he was watching?
I mean, probably, maybe in the car.
I don't know. And the car also doesn't has a hood, also, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they drive and they go to see Mr. Freeze, and did you want to talk about the puns, or do...
We'll get to the puns. I've written them down. We'll get to those.
Thank God. Because I didn't want to talk. I was like, man, there's too many puns because everyone already talked about them.
Just chill. We'll get there.
Okay. Everyone needs to chill now. Freeze in hell. that's
The thing is with those puns, there are some YouTube videos like 20 minute long where they're like cutting all the one-liners that Arnold Schwarzenegger had during his career, and I rewatch them like every few months or so, and it's like it's beautifully integrated in his whole like career span. It's so it really fits well into this canon.
Yeah.
So you see him like he's in the museum and he tries to. And that was one thing I would say this because throughout the film you see like shots you do like landscapes of the Gotham, and man, seeing this I was like, man, it's like I'm watching Judge Dredd, the Stallone movie, not the good one with Carl Urban. The way it was shot, because both of them also they have I think a statue, and then where they end up fighting over.
Well, that's the thing about this movie also. Like, this world that was created, there's giant statues that are weaving in and out of the freeways.
Yeah.
Like, this is a world that is designed to breed superheroes and supervillains just by living in it. Because it's so fantastical and needlessly overly complicated that how could you not go insane one way or the other?
Yeah. And
For
my
some reason, they
favorite
just made
statue, I don't know if you saw it, like there's a scene where when later we talk about with Poison Ivy and Bane, they're in the car, once the statue is holding like this, is two balls on their hand. I was like, why?
Yeah.
The observatory's held up like that as well by another statue. Like,
Yeah,
how do you even get to that?
It's reminding me somewhat of the 1920s and 1930s, like Metropolis movie. What you have also like this very interesting, like super futuristic world where everything is like huge skyscrapers, and you have like everywhere big figures that are interconnected in all of the infrastructure there. And I think they really want to get into those kinds of architecture stuff there. But it kind of works, I guess.
Yeah, I think it works for what he was going for. But again, the actual execution of it was not done well.
Yeah.
Especially when you start driving around like the extension of the arms and stuff like that. That looks absolutely ridiculous.
And of course, the statue they had to Joel Schumacher, they had to be given nipples too.
Of course.
And by the way, guys, we'll be talking about lots of nipples in this. We'll talk about later. It's also another nipple stuff. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, so if we see Freeze like he's in the museum trying to steal like a diamond, which we don't know what's about. We later find out why he's doing the diamond, because he's trying to create a device where he will later freeze it, use it to try to freeze Gotham, and we find out later why he's trying to do this. And then we see Batman. He comes in crashing through the window and he drops on a dinosaur, and it turns into the Flintstones. Exactly, him sliding.
Yep.
The hockey spiders and
the flying, the jumping, everything is very stagey. Like you're watching a stage by people jumping and throwing each other.
The gravity is non-existent in a lot of these fights, and it just like float across.
One of my shots, I don't know if you guys seen it. Like Robin, he jumps, and you see the camera focused on his head. He gives away his butt also to the camera. Robin, he's jumping.
Yeah.
There's too many butts.
And I like.
Go ahead.
I like how this is the first time they're going against Mr. Freeze, but they came prepared with ice skates in their boots.
Wow.
And the heaters as well, just...
Yeah, so they end up fighting him, and another, like you talked about gravity, another one was that security guard. Oh, he screamed, and then he throws him up. Man, that looks too bad. We decided to grab his gun. Because we're not gonna talk about it, because if we end up talking about the throwing and jumping, man, they'll have to be staying here all day. So he steals the diamond and the gun, and he inside. Why did he had a rocket inside a car? That's another question.
That's a good question. I mean, why anything? But
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze was prepared for all this, by the way. Because once they leave the museum, Mr. Freeze actually freezes through the statue and shoots the rockets to bust through and then go down the arm. So he had a plan. His minions did not have plans, so they died.
Oh, that's later in the movie.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so he actually, he sees him skipping the road, but Batman, he goes inside with him. But Robin, he hangs out outside. But I do like that even with the magnetic, he's struggling to climb up. Like, he's slipping. It's not sticking the magnet. But then he freezes and he tells him, like, when you reach the maximum level, your heart will get frozen and die, and then the whole ship will get frozen and get debris on Gotham. Freeze escapes and he has was that supposed to be a bat, his wing?
It's just pure Power Rangers. Just fuck knows how this works.
God, man, even the green skin looks bad. So Robin saves Batman, and then they end up sky surfing down in space. I need to remind. I don't know if they are breathing him.
I think they got
pretty high.
just the atmosphere, and then came back down.
Yeah,
but
so
just
this
enough
guy's
that grinding on a statue is enough to slow you down so you
and
live.
Then we see Batman. He attacks in a freeze. He drops the diamond. Robin chases him, and he says what I think is the 90s line of the film. Anyone wants to say what it is?
Jill?
Kawabanga.
Oh, right.
He's landing. And I was like, boy, man, even the Michelangelo would be like, hey! Man, I'm surprised he didn't send him a cease and desist for his line. So, Frieza, he survived using, his ice machine to shoot him down to the ground. And then he escapes inside the tunnels. Robin goes after him, but he freezes him. He steals the diamond. He tells him, you can either chase me or save the boy. Batman leads, Freeze escape. And then he grabs Robin like he's holding a bike. The way he's holding a bike. And I'm pretty sure Christopher Dunn is way heavier than the way he's holding him. Because he looks very light.
Nah, Batman's super strong, of course.
Maybe all the nipple muscles are helping him. Maybe that's why he needs the nipples.
Maybe it's subtext, because when you're cold, your nipples stick out. So it's just a hint of the movie that they'll always be sticking out because it's that cold.
God. I can't wait for someone to read the Drinking King for how many times we said the word nipples.
Yeah.
So he puts him in the water and he heats up with the laser. And then, of course, he comes out. It's like, did we catch him? And Batman's like... And one thing I don't know if you guys noticed about George Clooney, and if you know we talk about Arnold and his pun, did you guys notice George Clooney and his shaking head?
Well, he couldn't move his head by itself also.
Yeah, he always like, hey, I'm George. That was the thing in his 90s. If you notice him, like, he always shakes his head. And there's a funny story, like, he stopped because, Spielberg was once asked, hey, what do you think of this George Clooney guy? He's like, he's good, but he shakes his head a lot. This thing went to George Clooney. George Clooney was like, really? Fine, I'll stop. In fact, because I found a compilation of him shaking his head, it's all of it are in the 90s. In fact, if he does not shake his head, he would grab another actor's head and he starts shaking his head to talk. That's actually, you can find, just type George Clooney head shake and you see a compilation video about it.
I never even noticed that, but now I'm not going to notice it.
Yeah, because you would notice it later, like, later when he's fighting Poison Ivy, it's just like my Vines has a crush and she grabs his leg and you see him looking at the ground and start shaking his head like this. I don't know if you noticed.
I did not notice that.
Yeah. Because I did not notice that until I found out about it because I was watching a podcast. They were talking about the film and they brought up the head shaking. Did KF mention the head shaking in their Batman and Robin review?
I think so. I don't remember it at least.
I don't know. So anyhow, look, after that, we see Poison Ivy, or rather Pamela Isley, because she still haven't become Poison Ivy yet. We find out that she's trying to save the Mother Nature, from the humanity. She's working in a factory with Dr. Wood, who's played by John Glover. And she notices that, if I'm not mistaken, her venom is gone. She finds out that Dr. Woodrow, he's taking them for this experiment, aka the super soldier experiment. Which which came first,
Yeah.
Captain America or this one, the super soldier?
I mean, Captain America was way back in the day, so I assume Captain America, since Bane was, as Kai pointed out, just came out 93, you said?
Mm.
And I do like the fact that the super soldier word is toxin. I'm pretty sure when you're trying to create something super, the word toxin is the last thing you will need about it. And since also the 90s, we see also like the usual terrorist group. We see like the Arab guy, the Asian, the Russian woman. Who else was the African?
Who just disappear, by the way. There's no mention of them ever again, and they don't show them like getting killed or anything by Bane or anything. Just there's never
Bane
mentioned.
is just standing right there the whole movie. After you see like this, I think they created this backstory for the film, because I don't think Bane, that's his name, Bane. He doesn't have an alternate ego, because for this film that they created an alternate ego for him. What is it? Antonio Diego. They say that he's a serial killer, and they turn him into this Bane, and he said, then we find out, Bane as in Bane of what, humanity? Something like this,
sure.
he says. And then you see him like she sees her, and then he goes to her like, what, Dr. Wood, bro. She tells him like, you can help me with your venom, I can create more super suits, and she tells him no, but then he kills her. And then after that we see like the Batcave where they're talking about Mr. Freeze, and man, some of the stuff about the flashback, some stuff I need to talk about. So first we see him like to talk about his wife, like she has suffering from something called the McGregor, what's it, syndrome, that's what it's called.
Yeah. McGregor syndrome.
And this some fun fact about this disease, he named it after the film's producer, Akiva Goldsman, Peter McGregor Scout. And the CW Arrowverse, they took this actually and they retooled it because I remember reading about it, because they retconned, like they said, and the Arrowverse, this McGregor syndrome is a thing mostly happens to people who used to be drug addicts. Because this is what, if you guys, spoilers for the Flash TV show season 2. Is it okay if I spoil it?
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
You find out that Iris' mom, she's suffering from this because she used to be a drug addict. So that's how they took that. To find out that the Arrowverse took something even from one of the worst superhero movies and they included in their universe is a weird thing also. And then also, another thing I actually do like is that because there's honor, they say, oh, he's a Nobel Prize winner. They say also he's an Olympic, decathlete, something like this.
Yeah, I mean, they have to explain his physique somehow.
Yeah. And my favorite part also from that is when he gets thrown with the bad ADR of him screaming, ah! He gets thrown into the water.
Yeah.
It's kind of obvious bad ADR because I don't think his mouth was moving when he threw himself into the water because...
I mean, there's a lot of ADR in this movie. It felt like every single Uma Thurman line was ADR'd.
Yeah. And also, since we mentioned, the fun stuff, I forgot also to mention, there's also the cartoon sound effects that you hear in the film. One, when the jar gets thrown out, then later when Robin throws the thing and the guy slips. And I don't know if you guys listen, but I think some part, if you guys listen to the film score, when they're punch, you hear the sound like the Adam West punch. Bam! 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 Like you can hear the horn.
Didn't notice that.
Yeah, I think if you notice, maybe because I was having the headphone listening to the film. So he tells him, he also tells Robin, when he need to go, and before that he sees he's trying to use diamond to power his suit. Bruce Wayne tells Alfred, hey, you call we auction the Wayne's diamonds as a trap to trap Mr. Freeze. And at the same time, he tells Robin you're not still ready. You have to go back into simulation. He gets in a fight with him, and Alfred talks to him. It's hey, you need to trust him. He's you're not just your partner, he's also your family. Because I won't be there with you. And like he's hinting like he's dying, and it's kind of obvious that George Clooney. And I will say something about George Clooney. I don't think he's that bad of a Batman in this film. I feel like it's the material he was given, because I think his scene with Alfred, I think, are the best part of the film.
Yeah, there's definitely a level of the way George Clooney just naturally talks.
Yeah.
He's kind of always sounds disappointed or upset, and I think that could have been really cool if they played into that for Batman, just being annoyed by all these villains because he's been doing it for so many years, and being annoyed by Robin and Batgirl. Be like, oh God, these youngsters, they don't understand what's going on, but they did not do that.
Yeah. They mostly focus on the toys and the humor. Because that's the thing, because Chris O'Donnell, he said that shooting this film was very different. Like, it's like they were making a merchandise, not a movie. Because the first movie, because after Batman Returns, for Batman Forever, no toy merchant wanted to be part of it. But because it became hit, everyone got involved. Like, he said that it was like they were making a merchandise ad. Put this toy here and there. And Chris O'Donnell, man, is he annoying as Robin in this film. Now, is he supposed to be playing a teenager?
I thought he was like 20 or something like that.
So,
because Batman Forever, he was part of the circus family. I think he was supposed to be 17 there. It's like maybe a few years later.
That's 2 years later the movie came out. So why, like, he's supposed to be... That's it. 19.
I guess he's just a bit of a dick. Sorry, I've had that joke for 2 days.
The thing with those movies is basically, if you're looking at like where the DCU or where all the superhero movies are being located at right now, are they canonically right now in the same canonic universe?
They're
are
removed
they like
because
split?
Batman Forever and this one Robin are getting retconned because Flash is bringing back Keaton.
Yeah, exactly. Because by that time you would be thinking like, okay, it's still like we're still like in the Michael Keaton based universe, and then basically right now the thinking is like, okay, you may have the first two movies, which are the Michael Keaton, Tim Burton kind of Batman films, and then you would have like splintered off side universes with like George Clooney or Val Kilmer. Or Val Kilmer somehow before this one. At that point you can retcon everything out of existence, but that's.
Yeah. But they got actors coming back, like Michael Gough coming back as Alfred, Chris O'Donnell back as Robin, and because Val Kilmer was supposed to want him to come back, but they knew exactly WB and Joel Schumacher knew that he's not gonna come back because there was not a good relationship with him while shooting the film, and Val Kilmer was not interested in doing the Batman because at that time also had the reputation, getting a reputation of being hard to work with. Nobody, I think, wanted to work with him. So, and also another fun fact though, Joel Schumacher seems to be very happy. He wanted to get William Baldwin for Batman before they went for George Clooney. Even with Forever also, he wanted William Baldwin.
That would have been a choice.
Yeah, Clooney, because in the executive, they said, hey, we got this rising star, now we should get him. So, and as I just checked, I think Chris O'Donnell was 27 when he filmed in Batman and Robin.
Sounds accurate.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like, what was it, a teenager playing Robin, acting, it's like, yeah, Mr. Dean's acting like that. But the fact they got a 27-year-old man playing him.
I mean, let's just face the reality. Like 3 or 4 years later, you would be getting a superhero movie that was supposed to be in high school, and you have like 30-year-olds running around everywhere. So,
and this is also the time of like Beverly Hills 90210, Melrose Place. So it's like there are already 30-year-olds playing high schoolers on TV. So it wasn't that big of a stretch for most viewers.
And also we got recently, they're still doing it recently, but what was that movie, that musical, Dear Evan Hansen? It received a lot of backlash for casting a 20-year-old man as the teenager.
Yeah.
because of the casting, and also people that movie also got received some backlash because calling nepotism because his dad was the producer on the film.
Yeah, and I mean Ben Platt was also the original Evan Hansen on Broadway.
That's why people started to give it because like he was the original actor. But at the same time, Lin-Manuel Miranda didn't came back for his original role in The Heights. He gave it to the younger actor.
I mean, he's in it, but yeah.
Yeah, but in the original play, he was originally the lead. He was like...
He's too old for Usnavi now, though. He worked as well as the people.
It's like saying, let's remake, what's it, Streetcar in Desire and bring back, Marlon Brando. Or Stella. I mean, he's dead, but imagine if he did it, if he's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, where was I? Okay, so we were talking about like we were talking about Clooney, and later, I think later we see what Mr. Freeze in his hideout. Will we see Vivica Fox, or is it we see Poison Ivy coming back from life?
I think it's Poison Ivy comes back to life first, and then the Vivica A. Fox scene.
So anyhow, so we see Poison Ivy come back, and she tricks. Man, that doctor is very horny.
Everybody from this point onward, as soon as Poison Ivy is introduced, this film just turns into Horn Central. It's fucking ridiculous.
And to think that people are saying, "Oh no, Batman Return was not safe for kids." What the hell do you call this film? You're telling you're okay for kids to be horny seeing a woman in a monkey suit stripping, which we'll talk about it later.
Don't worry, we'll get to that scene. I have some thoughts.
I'm pretty sure you have some stuff to say, Andy. Boy, that might be your favorite moment.
Let's just say, when this movie came out, I was 15, and I wasn't really bothered at all by that.
I mean, you are 15.
That's an image I can't get out of my head.
From children. So what was I talking? Oh yeah, so we see her like she tricks him and by kissing him, and then she says like, you know what, I have to go to Gotham and Winterprise to help me because she sees a bottle that wants to take me to help me rule the world. So she takes Bane with her to go to Gotham, and then we see like, Mr. Freeze's head out of nowhere. We see, why is Vivica A. Fox doing there?
I mean, she got a role and acted the hell out of it. This small role, also a very horny role.
Man, and for some reason, for a guy who heat can kill him, he's still smoking a cigarette.
I mean, I think at that point it was in a contract. I think by Arnold.
That was because it's written. John Bon Jovi would visit Arnold. He would bring him a cigarette. He told them, "Hey, put this cigarette in the movie," and they were like, "Yeah, you're the big star. We'll listen to you." Because you've heard the story, like him and John Bon Jovi and Jesse Ventura, who we'll talk about later. Like they would always hang out, they're smoking cigarette, and then it's like,
it was not only Jesse Ventura, but later.
It sounds like you knew a lot of people who worked. Were you in the film?
No. There is another one that you're missing, but later on.
Yeah, and also because we see him like he has he's in a containment, like he's been keeping his wife like hibernating in order to cure her disease. We see Mr. Freeze, and that's why he doesn't give any chance to Vivica Fox. And then after that we see like Barbara Gordon comes in, and here they retcon her story, like they make her, instead of Commissioner Gordon's daughter, she's Alfred's niece, who actually doesn't sound very British at all. And they even hinted to us like, oh yeah, she's studying in Oxford.
Something like that, yeah.
I think so, yeah, which is obviously England.
Yeah. She's supposed to be like her uncle, like her parents are like, I remember, was it her brother or is it her mother is related to Alfred?
Mother.
Oh, mother, yeah.
But also the fact that she came after school to visit Alfred, but at no point in her flight or car journey she changed out of her uniform. Just shows up in the full school uniform.
And that's how Batman finds out that she was in school, because of the logo, because for that scene.
Yeah.
And man, I think she's out of all the actors who gave the bad performance, I think it was her. But if you read the stories about what happened to how she was doing with the film, it's not actually mostly her fault. She was not giving good directions. Actors were and not people who worked on the film, and the media were scrutinizing her. They were body shaming because she gained weight. Did you guys read these stories?
Yeah, and like basically, yeah, people were there's a lot of tabloids about her gaining weight and stuff like that. It was very, very like misogynistic and just like singling her out, and I'm sure like messed with her head also while filming.
Yeah, also because I don't know if you guys noticed, like she did a podcast in which she talked about this movie. She said, "Yeah, it was not actually a great experience, but actually George Clooney was very nice to me, and I liked working with Michael, Goh, the guy who played Alfred. That's the only people she mentioned in the podcast. Like she talked positive about. It was like, wow, how were the others were treating her? Makes you wonder.
Yeah,
because she later now." She disappeared. I think a few years later because she stopped. I think acting, and now she's back. Because I remember watching Killing of Sacred Deer. I was like, "Is that Elizabeth Silverstone?" And then I looked at, oh, it is her. And is she in the new He-Man show?
not sure.
Let me check. Oh, she's in the He-Man. She plays the Queen, He-Man's mom.
Got it.
Yeah. So, what was I then? Oh yeah. So we find out later that, she visited him late at night. He's actually trying to find his brother, and then she also sees like the photo of Margaret. That's his brother's wife.
It was his sister.
I thought it was his sister. Yeah. So because it's Lisa Silverstone's mom, but so I assumed it was sister.
It's
Because
Margaret,
why would you have a
and then
picture?
which we later we see like her nickname to her was Pig, and we find out later why.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after she tucks them in, she leaves, and then you see like she goes and she steals like Robin's bike. After that, we see like it cuts to we see what's his name we see George Clooney, like he went like he's in an event to open like the telescope, and then you see him like he's dating what's her name is it Julie? Yes,
Yeah.
Julie Madsen. She's played by Elle McPherson. She's an Australian model.
Yeah,
And
people might know her from Friends.
Oh, she was in Friends. Who was she in
Yeah, she was in Friends for like few episodes. She was Joey's roommate, who he then dated for a little while.
Yeah. All right. So it's like, and people ask him, was you guys been dating long? Are you guys gonna get married? And then we see Poison Ivy come in, and she's dressing up the wig, and she starts acting like she's Pamela, not Poison Ivy, because Poison Ivy, she speaks like a more like British accent, and sometimes she turns into Mary. Was it Mary West? That's her name. Mae West.
I remember that.
Is it that thing was from the next be Mae was like, oh Batman, something like this is all this like old like schools like woman, and then she turns
like
British.
old school like baroness, like proper baroness.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Because sometimes you see her accent slips out, it turns from different like talk, but she sticks like for Pamela as the accent. Then she tries to Bruce Wayne to sign her like project to sign back. He says no, they say this will harm the people. He said you are going to start Gotham will happen, will get destroyed, and people's like they start laughing to her, and they tell her like Batman and Robin are will stop anyone who destroys Gotham. She's like Batman and Robin, so they have to to get rid of them first. So after that we cut to Mr. Freeze. He's watching a video like of his wedding, and then one of his henchmen interrupts him, but he freezes him. And one thing I actually did like, I don't know if you guys, his hitman, like his couch protector is actually a face of a skull. Did you guys know this?
No, I did not look at the crotch protector.
I was like, when he goes on, I was like, what? I just noticed it before. It was like, is that a skull on his couch? It's like, oh god, Schumacher. And it's pretty funny when I was talking about his design. This actor is in the THR article. He was on a break outside smoking, and turned around him. It was Cindy Crawford, who at that time was single. And he was like, oh god, man, I'm screwed with this, how I look like. She's not going to give me a chance. Okay, so after Mr. Freeze sees like the article for the Bruce Wayne diamonds. Oh yes, another thing, when he was doing this scene, like I don't know if you guys know, did you notice that how badly the makeup are on his eyes? Because I can not see right here the eyelids, like they're not I know there's hard to do makeup here, but later in the scene when he's crying, you see that they did a bad job on that scene with the eye makeup than in this scene.
I mean, the makeup was actually overall pretty good for Mr. Freeze, but yeah, I think it's just very hard to do makeup around the eyes.
Yeah, because because I mentioned, because in the later scene you see it was done better than this scene.
Yeah.
And also I think part of it because it took them very long time to shoot, and honest because of his salary meant you can only charge him for a specific amount of hour. And also he didn't shave his hair like he's supposed to shave. It's like fine, I'll shave. Then he's like, don't shave it. Fine, we'll put a bowl cut, because they say if you put a bowl cut, it means we have to add more hour into our makeup, all this stuff. And apparently, it gets rid about the LED in his teeth.
Yeah, like the battery acid would start
let's go with
leaking.
And
was that actual? I thought that was like a really shit special effect, or they just shined
That's
a light in his
there.
mouth. I didn't know there was actually something in there.
Yeah.
In there, yeah.
Oh fuck!
and they say that the saliva would react with the battery and it would leak all the acid.
Oh, poor man, Jesus.
Poor man, he got paid $25 million. He's not poor man.
I mean, everyone has their limits of what they'll do for 25 million.
Would you put an acid for a battery that will leak acid if it got saliva? And
For
also
25
even
million, you can put anything in my mouth. Just
even what's his name?
Right?
Even the nipples, the bat nipples.
even the nipples.
Yeah.
Guy is having the time of his life.
Sorry, guy.
All right then. So, Guy, do you want to say something? Because you've been quiet a lot.
No. I was just waiting until the next scene comes, because that's basically
I think I know what scene you're talking about.
Low point, my absolute low point of this movie.
Does it involve a card?
Yes.
Okay.
And possible prostitution.
If you think about it.
I mean, to be fair, she offered herself to them.
But the other four didn't.
God
I guess
knows. How do you know they're not? You know what? We'll talk about this. So let's talk about it now. So we get to the charity event where you see, out of nowhere, for some reason, Batman and Robin decide to go to this charity event. And were they auctioning themselves also too?
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
wow.
No, wait.
It was
Were
just
they?
the
I
diamond,
mean-
and they were stood there as guests.
Because they need an
yeah,
excuse for them
yes.
to be at the event because they saw Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
Okay, so they come in and they auction, like you see, the diamond, because they have some models. They say that they come with the diamonds. Because I did not.
Are they extra things? I think the diamond's there to
Because
show.
I know the extra thing, because we see Poison Ivy comes in, she said, I'll put myself in the deal. I don't know about the other women.
I mean, it might have been, a bachelorette auction.
Yeah.
Which does happen. And that was a charity thing. It's creepy. And borderline illegal,
Groundhog's
but
Day, they do this, right? Because I remember Bill Murray auctions himself for a date in Groundhog's Day, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
But just
Okay.
also logistically, this annoyed me more than it really should have. That they were just bidding on different ones at the same time. That's not how an auction
Especially
works.
the people
You
who
don't have
are
four items,
bidding,
just
they all
pick
look
one.
creepy.
You go one at a
Especially
time.
that white-haired guy who looks like what's his name from Seinfeld. It's like, I'll pay $50 million for that. Because that guy looks like he's having the time of his life. Risky to him overact, like he was enjoying it.
That was a good impression, yes, to be fair. That was pretty spot on.
Yeah.
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 And he looks like I don't know what's his name, Pearson. I think who was Elaine's boss in Seinfeld, the white-haired guy.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about, Lee, right?
Yeah, the boss, yeah.
Yeah, because he looks like him, but I think that was him because I looked at see if that's him. It was not him. But man, he was really enjoying his time. It's like, yeah, maybe he was really drunk, and Joel Schumacher's like, let him do it. I'll pay. So after that, we see the gorilla suit. And do you want to talk about the gorilla?
I'm not sure we need to talk about the gorilla. It was
No.
just...
You don't want to talk about the gorilla nipples?
I mean, I can throw the word bestiality out there if you want to make sure we definitely get demonetized, but
So we see
there was
Pamela,
definitely
a gorilla.
something going on there.
Yes.
Okay.
It was just the...
Yeah, so we see a gorilla stands up and you hear some sexy music and you turn around and you see like it's actually Poison Ivy, she's stripping down. And I do actually like her costume, Poison Ivy, in this scene. She drugs them all with her drugs thingy. Yeah. And then of course when she dropped her substance, like I said, this is Joel Schumacher, there has to be some greasy, shirtless, ripped man. I mean, if you guys have seen Lost Boy, you know how much he loved this type of gay thing.
And Poison Ivy just stepping on top of all of them as they make a bridge.
Mm.
He wants to show every muscles from their body, their back and front. This is where Joel Schumacher really spends his time with. And by the way, we're not being homophobic with this joke. I hope it's not sound, because we know Joel Schumacher in real life he's gay. I hope it doesn't sound like it's us being homophobic or anything.
No.
All right.
Let's just say the choreography does not make sense to be like pre-planned whatsoever. So it looks very elaborate, and it would be very interesting if this would be like the first try and everything would be nailed there.
Mm-hmm.
Playing wise.
So we see Poison Ivy. She comes in and she goes to the dime and she offers herself. But the main reason she's there is because she wants to destroy like the relationship between Batman and Robin. Each one of them like is bidding. It's like Batman, he says 1 million, and Robin's like 2 million, and I think he says I'll borrow money from you, and then he comes to the Bart, 7 million. Kai, can you say the word? Who wants to say the catchphrase?
Go on, Kai. You've got
Never leave the Batcave without it. Kai, talk about it.
The thing is, so I scrubbed through on my iPad to the scene, so you would have, so it's very, very interesting to see. You have like, of course, the black credit card, and it's Batman. It's actually written on there, good through forever, golf cart. So it's like Batman Forever is already standing there, which is a very interesting like callback to the previous movie. But I would like to have a talk with like the bank that would issue this card.
Are we sure it's not going Enterprise Bank? That's the only excuse I can think.
It's Golf Cart, which is a very interesting brand name per se. Like
that's an actual bank.
No, yeah, it's over there. It's really standing there. Golf Cart.
I mean, is this a real company?
No. This everything is like fake on there. Yeah. But God, just for this one pun, it's yeah.
I mean, you think about it. Bruce Wayne, his account is like, okay, this amount of money, where's it going? Like, you think about all this man people stuff. There has to be someone who's looking to his account, who's like, what are you spending your money at? There has to be someone who's looking.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, just from the logistical point of view, like Batman having like his own account is a very high liability for his his own privacy or stuff like that. It's really, really bad if you would be like having something like a tax exemption status on this card and stuff like that. Because in the worst case scenario, then the IRS comes in and then asks, okay, who is actually Batman? And then you would have like a huge headline in the Gotham, I don't know, Daily Mail or Daily Planet or so. And that's not really helpful for your superhero
in this movie,
brand.
Superman is already established, isn't it? So it's the Daily Bugle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Batman mentioned Superman.
Yeah,
about how Superman works alone.
Yeah, so what was that? So you were talking about this bad credit card. It reminded me of the IRS. Reminded me of a scene from Batman Animated where Joker's like, "I'm crazy enough to fight the Batman, but the IRS, oh no."
Yeah, that's from the animated series.
Yeah, and there was also a scene in Justice League where Batman he has pocket money. He goes to buy a coffee to stay awake. So. Let's see, what do we start? Oh yeah, so after that, Freeze comes in and he steals that diamond and then they start chasing after them. And then you see like Batman, he sees that Robin, he's only focusing on Poison Ivy. So if they start chasing, what's his name, Mr. Freeze. But Batman succeeds in killing him, and that's the part with Lee. Were you the one who talked about? Which one talked about the? Yeah, this
the statue.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that Mr. Freeze was prepared to bust through the statue, and his minions were not, and it makes none of it makes sense at all. How could you? Why would there easily be a way to jump onto the statue in the first place from the freeway? It is mind-boggling the way this entire city is designed.
And his car is heavy. It looks like a tank, not a.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman has like the jet in his car. You must explain. Maybe he can increase the speed. And also, it does give us one of my favorite scenes from Mr. Freeze. That's a funny scene. And then Batman catches him, and then he displays him like he's like one of those hunters when they captured an animal. So after that, Robin gets mad because he said, "You start me. I could have come and help you," but then he goes on and sees Alfred, and we see Alfred like he's preparing a note for his brother, but we don't know. But we later find out that he's dying. He's trying to have his brother come be his replacement.
The family that they're all apparently butlers.
Yeah.
It's a family business,
One of them, I think, will work for the Maharaja of India, if not mistaken. That's his brother, the one who's looking for.
Yeah.
Man, but I will talk about later about this. So we find out later, Mr. Freeze, like he gets taken. I do like that what he's containing is a fridge. That's an actual fridge, not.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, you couldn't build something. You had to go and just disassemble a fridge.
It still had the double door for the little freezer and the fridge.
That's what I was like. Is that a fridge? I mean, he was not complaining. I mean, you get paid 25 million. You're not gonna complain. So he gets sent there. We see like the two bodyguards.
Yes. May I talk about those two persons? Those two bodyguard, the two policemen in the room. I am not really like knowledgeable about Jesse Ventura, but there's Ralph Müller in there, which I think all of you don't know actually.
He was in Gladiator and the Conan the Barbarian TV show. Not mistaken.
Yeah, he was like basically best buddies with Arnold Schwarzenegger throughout his career, and whenever Arnold was doing one big movie and stuff like that, because they were like old buddies from the bodybuilder years, he somehow always kind of got a role in there, like someone cameo, like standing in the background. And for some fucking reason, he has a large eye patch there, and I have no idea why. But
to look evil, that's why. Because it
looks so ridiculous. Yeah, that was my thing. That when I saw this scene, is this fucking Ralph Müller there? Oh God, he is. Oh God, he is. Oh no.
And Lee and Andy, if you guys don't know who this actor is, he was in Gladiator. The guy, remember in Russell Crowe, he befriends Jamie Hansen, another white guy, who later dies when. That's the guy who's Kai is talking about.
Yeah, okay. Whenever you needed one buff guy, then Ralph Müller would be one of the persons to go to back in the 90s and early 0 years. Yeah.
I mean, both of them, they're in it because they were Arnold's friend. Jesse Ventura worked with him on Predator. He was with him on
and
set.
Also John Bon Jovi is also part of this circle. There's also one John Bon Jovi music video where basically all of them appear there.
Yeah, because you will read the story, like everyone was coming to see Arnold, and celebrities, people, and apparently at that time, because it was not as big a deal as superhero was as this is today, they would take photos. Apparently, photos of Arnold for paparazzi would sell for $1,000. They're saying. And that's how. Yeah, because that was the thing about that time. It was something you knew. It's not as it is right now. People, if you hear the story, it's like, so we hear the story a lot about people taking photos of people, like the leaks and stuff. But we saw what happened with Spider-Man No Way Home. And then at that time, it was like something you knew. This why they were not expecting. Don't know what's gonna happen. And George Clooney, who's the star of the film, like he didn't have all this attention that he was receiving, despite like he's already being popular now with the ER. Okay, so what was that I talking? Okay, so we're talking about that actor Ralph. What's it? Ralph Muller. Muller.
Ralph Müller.
Ralph Muller. Did you saw that Conan the Barbarian show?
No, but I know that he was Conan there, I think.
Because I remember that's how I knew him, because we used to watch on a TV show. But I know it's only ran for one season, but I think they were trying to ride on the height of Hercules and Xena. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. And he also tried to get like also a similar Arnold Schwarzenegger like role, but he never really went there. But yeah.
I think part of it because what's his name, Arnold, because he was charismatic. Maybe that's why.
Maybe he tried to get roles that would eventually go to Arnold, and they didn't really like have multiple roles exactly for his kind of personality or his stature actually.
Yeah. Okay. So where was I? So we talked about the prison scene, and we see like then it's a customized prison. Like there's only one specific ice area where he has to stay there, else he'll die. So then the next scene we see like Bruce Wayne, he's with his girlfriend Julia, and like they're talking, and she tells him like she wants him to get married, but Bruce doesn't want to get married. And at the same time he's hallucinating Ivy, and we don't see him saying, but we hear Julia say, who are you calling Ivy? Then she leaves, and then we see Robin, like he sees the security footage of Barbara stealing the bike. He goes after her, and I want to talk about one specific scene in that scene. We see like she goes to the bar, but did you guys notice the Clockwork Orange guys?
Yeah, the guys in the diapers and stuff, and the bowler hats. Yeah, the Clockwork Orange guys. For some reason,
Warner Bros. Do love putting them in those rapists and this. I guess that's who they are in children's movie. This and Space Jam.
Yeah.
Also, for some reason, Coolio is in there.
I have actually a reason why he was there. Did you read? Dude, apparently he claims that he was gonna be in the sequel. Was gonna play Scarecrow. That was his character, like a tease.
Oh. So okay.
But Joel Schumacher, I think, came out when asked about Scarecrow. They said that apparently Joel Schumacher and Warner Bros. They were looking at Nicolas Cage for Scarecrow for the sequel, not him. I think because he was becoming popular at that time. It's like, hey, just put him in the movie. It's just not they would put people. He calls
Coolio
himself,
was big at that time.
Yeah, they call him the banker. Just like
I think
he decided to go on the race. So they go on the race, and I don't know if you guys noticed when they exit the town. Did you guys notice Shaggy drawn on the ground from Scooby Doo? Is it after they exited the tunnel? You see Shaggy for. And apparently, I remember something. John Glover was saying that Joel Schumacher, when he was directing, was holding a board. It's like, remember, guys, this is a cartoon. We're making a cartoon movie. So he saves Barbara from dying, and then you see him talking to her. She tells like she wants to free Alfred from this place. She doesn't want him to be a servant. And Robin is, I don't know what's his name. Chris O'Donnell would tell her like, hey, Dick, because I don't want to say because Andy would be excited if I say the word. See how
I already made the joke earlier, okay. So yeah, carry on.
So Dick tells us like, no, Alfred is happy, isn't it? He's been taking care of Bruce and stuff. Like, she tells him like Alfred is dying, but they don't know what disease is. But what's his name? Bruce Wayne tells like, yes, he is dying. I knew about, but he's hiding it. I think it made it obvious like Bruce Wayne knew about it because the way he was talking to him, and he was getting suspected. That's the last thing we do. It wasn't like a surprise thing, but I feel like they tried to do it.
It was obvious from the moment he coughed. And again, not needed in the movie at all.
You need a plot for a movie, something. Okay, so later, and I actually did like this scene when it cuts back to. But did it show Ivy attacking a hideout, or wait? The show I think the Heidi attacked the hideout first. She attacks them, and then. And she takes over them, and then after that we see Mr. Freeze. Like, that's actually a very fine scene. Like, he goes up there. I think that's supposed to be a nod to the animated show for the ending of the Heart of Ice, where he creates like a sculpture of his wife and he's holding it under the clock. And what I do like is that the other guys are just looking at him like there, You don't see him. I know him just looking at him.
You'd be the thing that was a clock and then turns into a music box. Somehow. I get the spinny bit, and they go, where does the music come from?
From the movie. Maybe the other guys are singing to him.
I know I shouldn't pick a logical fault with this film, but again, it's like, that doesn't make sense.
The moment you have him dropping puns and nipples and butt cracks, there's no logic in this.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I'm fully aware. I'm picking my horse to die on the stupidest point of this film, but
Yeah, you should be grateful. At least Mark is in there, so he might end up defending this film. I mean,
now there's a girl in a schoolgirl outfit. Mark will hate this movie.
Oh, okay then. So where was I talking? Oh yeah, so Ivy and Bane came and they help him escape, and I do like the nod for the what's it, the Riddler outfit. Was there another outfit beside the Riddler?
Yeah, there was
Two-Face.
The Two-Face. So they help him. But oh man, that scene was very fake when Bane grabs the bodyguard when the wall. It looks very fake. And even his arm, it's kind of obviously they drew on his arm. It's not because later when he's grabbing Batman, I noticed that because it was very bright his body. So they escape, and then later Batman he gets a call saying that he escaped. They go to freeze his hideout and they see the video of Pamela and what's his name, Bane helping him. So what happens that they're investigating. How did he find out where to find Freeze's wife?
A good question, because originally...
Greatest detective?
Yeah.
Because he only pulls a box and he presses it. It's like he knew exactly where she is. Unless, because if I'm mistaken, the cops did not open the door.
I mean, I think it's just, he knew. He found out, he knew. Not much more to think about it.
I mean, if you're such stupid as a super villain, if your secret hideout is somewhere called Snowy Cones, I mean, it's your own fault by that time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they could have made something like it's an ice cream factory, but underneath the ice cream factory is his hideout. I mean, this is like, no, it's the whole factory is his hideout.
Yeah.
Alright then, so they find Mr. Freeze, and then we see like, which a lot of plot device later we see to, you can introduce like he only cured the stage 1 from McGregor syndrome. And he's been trying to work so hard to create the cure, so that's what Mr. Freeze is trying to do. He's trying to steal that diamond to create a device that will freeze the Gotham so that he could hold the ransom and pay they pay him the money to cure. They have to find research to cure his wife. That was his whole thing. And then also, because I think they tried to make him like I feel like if they had done something, made him like simple list with the puns, it would have worked well for Freeze. To remove that, but I don't know about the acting for Arnold. If they had gone maybe someone, a better actor, maybe it would have worked better. And I'll say something about Arnold. I know people always make fun of him, but he's having fun with this film because it's like he's not phoning it. It's like he's having fun with his. He knew what he was doing, and so did what's his name Poison Ivy or Uma Thurman. She knew exactly what they were in. The only two actors I feel like they were not, because I don't think they were giving bad direction. It was Chris O'Donnell and what's her name. It's different because I feel like because of the bad direction, they didn't know exactly what they were doing. I think that's why I think that.
I mean, if I would be getting 25 million, I would be having fun too.
Yeah, 25 million, 1 million for each pound.
Oh, woo.
You know how like what's his name, Tony Dodd? He had the deal that for every time I get stung by a bee, you pay me like 1,000. He got paid I don't know how much because he got stung I think 10 times. That's something. It's like for each pound they pay him more million.
It's like the start of a Mr. Beast video. Hi, I'm on the set of Batman and Robin, and every time this man makes a pound, we'll give him $1 million.
Yeah. All right. So did he find out that Poison Ivy is there because she uses the smell of them because he wants to strike them so that Freeze can steal like his diamond device, and she tells that she's gonna save his wife. They go under there and they start fighting Bane, but Ivy and she tries to seduce Batman, but it doesn't work. But then Bane starts fighting Batman, then she starts seducing Robin, and then Robin starts fighting him, and then he throws him. Was that an ice cream? The green thing is
Something like that.
Yeah, this is from an ice cream, and Freeze, he activates the device that I think is supposed to be like freezes them, but Gordon stops him after he escapes. And then Gordon comes, it's like, what happened? They never tell him what happened. And Poison Ivy see her, like she pulls the plug on his wife's device. She tells them that, because it makes you think that she killed her, because later, oh yes, before that, Robin says like, you know what, I'm going to go solo. I want my own bat signal. So after that, she goes back to to her hideout, and she sees Mr. Freeze. I like that he set up everything when she was gone. She lies to him. She tells him like, Batman killed your wife. He gets angry. He said, I'm going to freeze the world, and she tells him, after you freeze the world, I'm going to take over it with my plans. And then later it cuts to, if I'm not mistaken, Alfred. Yes, Alfred. We see they tell him like he has stage 1 of McGregor's disease. Was it McGregor's syndrome, right? I keep seeing McGregor's.
Yeah, it's McGregor's something.
It's McGregor's
McGregor's.
something. So what was that? Yeah, so they tell him like, then you tell him we need to. Bruce Wayne tells Dick that we need to find Freeze because he found the cure for McGregor's syndrome stage 1. Maybe he can help us. And then later you see him like, Bruce Wayne goes to the party with Julia for the launch of this telescope, and then we see in that area we see like Poison Ivy. She goes on. I actually do like also this part where she tricks cock blocks Commissioner Gordon. She got him.
Got him good, and then decides you're not worth it, and then goes up to the
And I like that Bruce Wayne is just looking at them like what was happening, and Joey's like, what are you doing? So after she steals the key to the rooftop of Gotham GCPD, Bane, actually, if not mistaken, they steal the bat signal and change it to a Robin signal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't damage it. They steal the bat signal, and even tells Robin, like, he warns him like, okay, you have to trust me. She's doing this to trick you, but they never show you whether or not he trusts him or not. But it's kind of obvious he trusts him because hints. And then it cuts to, if I'm not mistaken, Alfred and Barbara, they're talking. He hands her the disc. He said, give this to my brother. But she goes on, she opens and she inserts the disc. She starts to find the password, and the way to find out the password is actually inspected a photo. And I don't know if you guys noticed, the photo, when she looks at it, when she types Margaret, the word pig was not written on it. When it cuts back to it, pig was written on it.
In the close-ups?
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the worst hacking scene of all time. Just going password after password after password.
And the attempt numbers, they don't show you the attempt numbers. They ignore it.
I mean, this is 1997, so I guess people weren't that protective of their passwords.
Studying IT in the film, like Barbara.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. She's not Barbara. Oh yeah, then... And then she finds out that they are Batman and Robin, and then she enters the Batcave. And this is something like some stupid stuff. It's like he's setting up all of this for his brother. It's like, and then let you find, I knew that there's a sense that you might be coming in. I even built the Batsuit. Why didn't you tell her from the beginning? You had to go all this trouble for your brother.
A good question.
Yeah. So she ends up suiting herself out, and then we do see I think Dubats one when she's actually, she's zipping up her pants. Then the last shot when she's about to put on the cowl.
Yeah.
And just high heels, really helpful for fighting crime.
I mean, it worked in Jurassic World when she was running the T-Rex.
Touche.
Oof.
I mean, like, anyone who can run in high heels deserve all my respect.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so where was I? Yeah, so Robin goes to Poison Ivy. He talks to her and she tells him, give me a kiss, but tell me where Freeze. He tells him like he's at a telescope trying to freeze Gotham. She kisses him, but then you find out that he has rubber lips. Then she throws him to the water for her vines, and they end up grabbing him. And then comes Batman, and then she does like that scene. I know I talked to you guys when Batman.
I'm assuming Kai's about to mention the reverse shot of Robin.
Oh yeah,
No, yeah.
I noticed that.
I was just saying like that at that point the best pun of the movie actually went to Robin because he was saying like always wear protection.
I did notice it, like the part because like it's like did they just rewinded that part with coming out of the water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was bad.
And of course that scene I told you about when he would. Do you have the scene in Kai where Bruce Wayne like he shakes his head when he's about to be pulled by the love vines? It's the scene where she tells him, "My vines are about to crush you."
No, actually, I just went to the one scene where Bruce Wayne was very intimately smooching Alfred when he was lying there for some. He went in there for some reason.
I mean,
whatever you like, Kai. You know,
that's how it was a good scene
okay.
because you see him like it was something like he was acting like emotional, like the guy who raised him he's dying, he couldn't save him.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, George Clooney is not bad as Batman and Bruce Wayne, but I feel like it's the material he was given. And he should have also stopped shaking his head.
Yeah.
And then what? Okay, so what happened? So after that, Barbara comes and she starts fighting her. And I do like to say that, oh, like you're using the feminine stuff to fight and for your own for objectification. That's not very feminine. And before that, we see her like she's dressing up and there's the butt shots about. For Batgirl.
Yeah, it's definitely weird to have Batgirl talk about feminism. This movie, obviously written by an old white dude, and has no idea what feminism actually is.
That's actually 101 from the script when you see someone write about feminism who does know nothing about it. Was it Kai?
I think by the time Akiva Goldsman was actually still pretty young by the.
Oh, well, still.
Right now, he's a pretty.
He wrote The Client and Time to Kill before this.
Fine, but still, point still stands.
Yeah, point still stands.
I mean, he did do a Lost in Space a year later.
Pretty valid.
And he did give us later the Da Vinci Code movies and what was it also? Yeah, Transformers last night.
I was just saying like he's 67 now, and by the time he was like mid 30s. So
and we don't know if the first script had rewrites, because sometimes people would have rewrites. Some writers they would start writing the script. So she fights
I feel like they had.
Go ahead, P.
I was gonna say I feel like they had one draft of the script. Nobody looked through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure
Definitely.
Arnold and Uma Thurman were ad-libbing their puns. Okay, so what was
I believe that.
Okay, what was that? Oh, yeah, so was it Poison Ivy? She confesses that she killed Freeze's wife. And then, but she defeats her Batgirl defeats his Poison Ivy and they both escape. And I do like that Batman had like a small saw machine with him.
Yeah.
One thing I do like is the fact that you see in the beginning of the film, like each one they're grabbing gadgets and you see his build and his body. It's like, where is he putting them? Because they show you his body a lot. I mean,
I have some thoughts of where he's putting them. Just
butt crack?
I'm not going to say where. I'm just going to leave that up to your imagination of where I'm thinking.
The nipples.
Jesus.
Sure. Sure. Why not?
Maybe piercing their eyes. Okay.
Just hanging them on there, little hangers.
So they find out where Freeze is going, like, and they leave, and then we see Freeze, like, he attacks the telescope. That's the lab observatory called, right?
They go to the telescope.
It's the telescope space. We call it the telescope space. And
yeah.
And he start freezing the city, and while they both are we see like 3 vehicle toy merchandise, the Batgirl bicycle. What was Robin driving?
Like a hovercraft thing in it.
Yeah, some hovercraft thingy, and Batman. And I do like also that they all changed their outfit for the last fight. Why is that supposed to be an ice suit? It's supposed to keep them warm.
Yeah, it's white. It has white trim, therefore it means ready for ice.
Yeah. Okay, so after that, they actually go out there to fight Mr. Freeze.
I would just have to say it looks cool. vanilla.
Cute guy.
Yeah, at least they didn't have Vanilla Ice singing to them. So where was I? Oh yeah, so they reach actually the telescopes and to find out that if they can using the satellite they can reflect the sunlight from Africa to come to Gotham City. And I do like is that the except that Gotham City is in New York. Did you notice?
Yeah.
Because most of the story they established that Gotham is mostly Chicago, but I don't think it's in that area. Chicago is not near New York. Like I said, I'm not America. I don't know
It changes from movie to movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have establishing shots from Chicago and New York in the Dark Knight trilogy. So yeah.
I mean, now mostly they shoot now in Australia
it's
and
a mixture.
Yeah, because the new movie, the Batman, they shot in London.
Yeah, but the establishing shots.
In the UK. I mean,
sometimes look a little bit like a mixture of London and New York per se, in some scenes that they have.
And I'll just have to give this movie credit for one thing, for this, as you were saying about the whole defrosting thing, because I am a very sad human being. At the very beginning, he says we have 11 minutes to defrost everybody. Now, when he starts freezing people, I set up a timer. They're only frozen for 9.5 minutes. So, they got that bit right. Well done, movie.
Good job.
Actually, I do remember that the dog and his pee got frozen. His pee on the fire hydrant. Of course, there has
Poor
to be
dog.
a dog. I'm pretty sure people were more sad on the dog being frozen over the human.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And poor, those two scientists, man, he left them hanging, Batman, after he unfrosted them. He even says, "Are you guys doing well?" They're like, "Yes."
It's like, it's one of those days. They're just
Yep.
hold along.
Yeah. So what happens that Barbara and Batgirl and Robin they end up fighting Bane, and then they remove his venom from him. And then Batman fights Freeze and he defeats him, but Freeze blows up the telescope. And then I do like that Barbara and Dick, they just leave Bane to die. The rebels fall.
Yeah, and it's a pretty gruesome death. Like all the ooze just spilling out of the back of his head.
He was still alive.
And yeah, but still, like it's pretty gruesome.
Yeah, and then later after that, you see Batman. He saves like the two scientists, and then he comes up. And, when he was like, "How can we stop?" And Batgirl said, "I can align the satellite because she's an IT student to decide to bring the ray of light, on Gotham." After that, they go to Freeze. Freeze tells Batman, like, "Kill me like you killed my wife. I didn't kill." And he shows him the video of Ivy confessing to the crime.
Just show the video, just like, here you go.
The same
It's not even
gravity
like it was-
device from the Batmobile.
But it's not even like it was recorded from like their suit. Like it was the actual shot from the movie. Like,
Yeah.
cool, because he's got cameras everywhere.
Man, they have cameras. The shot, but even when the Freeze's turn becomes Mr. Freeze, that shot, man, it's like, why? How many cameras does he have to record himself? Okay, so then, but he tells him like she's not dead. She's still alive. They were able to save her. And like he says that Bruce Wayne wants to help you. He tells him like, there's someone like he has McGregor's disease stage 1 and he needs your help because you know how to cure him. He gives him like the cure, stage 1 cure, and he tells him that Bruce Wayne wants to help you. And this is actually another cool scene where you see Batman's like being Batman's like, "Hey, I'm trying to help person like a criminal." He tells him like, "I know you're not a bad guy. You're trying to save your wife. We're gonna help you. Like, you're still gonna be in prison, but we'll make sure that you do at least reach her and in the prison like to help find the cure for your wife." He agrees to help.
This would have been like a very good scene in a competent movie.
Yeah.
But it
Like
just kind of like falls flat.
Yeah, because after that, when they agree and he gives them the cure, they go on and the cure. They said you have to wait till the morning. They give and say now we have to wait. After then later it cuts to them in prison, like poison. They're now cellmates. I do like that that Game of Thrones ripped off this line. Winter has come.
Yeah, different meaning nowadays.
Before Game of Thrones, we had Batman and Robin.
Hey, at least this was better than season 8.
At least we had some funny moments to laugh at in this film.
Yeah.
Okay, so after that, the next day they wake up and they see that Alfred is cute and he's very energized. And they all agree, we should be together.
Just like up and fully energized as if nothing happened ever.
How old was the actor when he did Batman and Robin? Let me see. Because I know he passed away in 2000.
Just a heads up, Yaz. I've got a 15-minute time before I have to disappear.
No, we're about to finish now.
I was just making sure, that was all. I was just give you the heads up. That was all. Sorry.
Oh yeah. So
my alarm just gone off.
So they end. So after that, they agree that we can be partners, and Alfred should stop bringing people to the Batcave. And after that, you see them running. I think they recreate the shot from Batman Forever, right?
Yeah.
And that's the end. And they end with, I think, the credits, and they have like a song from, if I'm mistaken, I think it's called the Smashing Pumpkin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I think, that became a huge hit. I think this song.
I mean, did you watch the credits? I just nope, film done, off. Goodbye.
No, because I watched it because after that it ends with a song called what was it? There it is. Gotham City. Do you want to know who sang this song?
The end is the beginning is the end by Smashing Pumpkins, who also won a Grammy Award for Best Hard Rock Performance.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know the song Gotham City Night? Who sang Gotham City? Who sang it?
Probably Coolio.
No.
No.
Who was it?
I'll give you a hint. He's in jail.
Is it R. Kelly?
Yes.
You got that really fast.
Yeah, because he has history working with Warner Bros. He did Space Jam too.
That's kind of what made me think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Batman Forever, they had Sealed Kissed by a Rose.
Yeah. That was definitely the better song for all those songs that came out in those movies.
Okay, so that was it. That was Batman and Robin, the film that destroyed Batman super quickly, and it let him stay in movie jail until 2005?
2007, I think.
Batman Begins.
Or 2005, yeah.
Batman Begins. So that was actually, if not mistaken, 6-year gap?
No, 8.
8. Oh, okay. Well, my math sucks.
It honestly feels like it was longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to have this on VHS.
Yeah, I remember because that was actually my first Batman because it was on VHS. I didn't know about the other Batman films, and
at that time I didn't went into much movies back in 2005 2006. So I only saw it on DVD a couple of years later when The Dark Knight came out. But it's another movie.
Yeah. Man, this film was so bad that even with the commercial success that they had, that they ended up canceling the sequel. Like I mentioned, Batman on shit, but they were gonna have apparently Scarecrow as the villain, and apparently in one scene they were gonna have a Batman hallucinate, and he counters the Joker, and they were gonna get Jack Nicholson back for the scene. And Harley,
luckily that never happened.
Yeah, and apparently Harley was gonna be in it, but she was gonna be more of like Joker's daughter than his girlfriend.
That's the thing. If they wanted to include Harley Quinn by that time, it would have also been only 5 year-ish since her first appearance in the Batman animated series. So it's a very, very fast turnaround by that time.
I would say this film does not deserve redemption from the Rotten Tomatoes.
It is fraud as fuck.
Yeah. So I think we all agree it's an unredeemable film, right?
Yeah. The thing is, it's bad, but sometimes in a very good kind of. So it's one of those movies where it's good in a bad way.
You could get drunk.
It's that bad. Where you actually can have fun with it.
Man, you're gonna get drunk though. The amount of puns they say, and every time you see a bat nipple.
If you did a shot every time you had a pun or a nipple,
and every time George Clooney shakes his head,
you would be dead. Yeah. You would be dead.
Just to drop the hot take I dropped before we started recording. that I think this is the second worst Batman film, because I think this is better than Batman. What's the second Keaton one? Is that Returns?
Returns.
Yeah, I hate that movie, so this is better.
You're insane.
Because people are really divided over that film.
Just because this is so bad, I find entertainment in it. The other one, I find none in it. So
another thing I think is because also I think casting was because the first one, Batman Forever, they had Jim Carrey. I think people were expecting this kind of be like a campy thing. This one, I think they didn't have something like a Jim Carrey. Okay, so before now I think we all know what our scores, but let's just give us our final thought of the film. Andy, do you want to begin first?
It's, like I said, it's worse every single time I watch it. The puns are fun. Like, I've literally got Allow Me to Break the Ice, Adam and Evil, Tonight Hell Freezes Over, just Let's Kick Some Ice. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's just...
My favorite is Freeze and Hell, when that's the last...
This is, we didn't touch on it, but for some reason, Uma Thurman's eyebrows... that half the film are just over the top, and then they're normal. I don't.
Her wigs are very intricate. Let's just say.
Yeah,
I mean, she does wear wigs in the film.
There's so much weird production choices and costume choices that's just, it's. We watched it for this, and we watched it for Kind of Funny. I don't really see myself watching this again unless I'm really drunk and bored. Just like, you know what? Let's watch all the Batmans again, just because. Maybe
someone might do another podcast and ask you to review it. Alright.
Motherfucker.
Yeah. So, as we know, your score is unredeemable, right?
100%. It's awful. Yeah.
Lee, your turn.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has some ideas that are poorly executed. You can make a movie that's campy and fun and good, but at no point in this movie was it directed well, or even, I mean, again, Uma Thurman's lines were all ADR'd, it seemed, and she was overacting a lot. And that was definitely a direction. I don't think this film is redeemable, but if you are drinking and watching it, it is a fun time.
All right. Okay, Kai, I think your turn.
Let's just say when I was revisiting this movie a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't really dead. I wasn't drunk at all. I was just sick, lying in bed with the flu, and it kind of like raised my mood a little bit. So it's. Let's just say it's one of those movies, if you're really feeling sick and lonely and bad, and then basically just watch this movie, because then you would know, okay, it could be worse.
Honestly, Kai, I'm worried for you. If you're feeling better movie as bad as this pile of shit, like, I go Star Wars or Back to the Future, who goes this?
Yeah.
Maybe, I watch, Samurai Cop whenever I'm feeling down, just to see how to laugh at all the stupidity in the film.
Yeah, I mean, it's campy as fuck, and it's stupid, and it's aggressively neon with all the art that they're having and all the colors that they're having. But if you just like switch off your brain, then it's I'm feeling like a kid again. That's the thing with this movie.
I mean, this is mostly targeted for the children, for toys and merchandise.
Exactly. And when I was 15, by the time when the movie came out, I was, I think, in the correct age bracket. So I still have it like in this kind of feeling. I never really had it like as a worst movie of all time kind of category, because there are a lot of worse movies.
Battlefield Earth.
I haven't seen this one, but you were sending around a certain link to a certain movie called Titanic 666, and this would definitely go into that direction.
Yeah, this is shit, but at least we can bitch about it and have fun. Other films are just painful.
Yeah, you should see that other movie, that Asylum at Air Force's Monster, where instead of creating a CG Godzilla ripoff, they bought a package and they used it instead.
I mean, you would probably have to like put a certain new kind of metric in there. It's like cost of the movie shittiness of the movie. And let's just say the shittiness to budgets being spent ratio is very, very high in this movie.
Yes.
All right. So for me, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not a good film, but like I said, there are some stuff you see people are they're doing stuff like I said, Arnold and Uma, they're having fun playing the movie, playing the roles. I mean, they were not phoning it in. George Clooney, I think he's doing well his job, and Chris O'Donnell, and like I said, service on, they were being given bad direction. They are good actors, but the direction they were given were bad. And Joel Schumacher, he's a great director. Falling Down, Lost Boys, which I think currently is still my favorite film of his. Flatliners, and he also did, what was that phone booth movie with a phone booth. That's also a good film. What?
Kiefer Sutherland.
With Kiefer Sutherland. I didn't know that was a Schumacher movie. Oh, I enjoyed that film.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I mean, he's done some good. Sadly, this film actually affected his career because of the stigma that affected him. He got affected the most. I mean, also like I said, since I think she's having a little bit of comeback. Since I think doing Killing Secret, she's coming back doing stuff slowly. And Chris O'Donnell he's on the CIS Los Angeles. George Clooney is doing well. And the police are outside Andy's house, looks like.
Yep, the flashing lights were on my end.
Alright. So like I said, I mean, it's not a deep film, but I feel like they tried to do something, but they went overboard with it. Then they failed.
Yeah.
Like I said, on a deep film. And that was it, guys. Our review of Batman and Robin. I hope you guys were not mad for making you guys sit 2 hours watching that abomination.
I think I'm more pissed about this than Yoga Hoses. I'm honest.
The fact that Yoga Houses is considered to be a better film than...
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you guys, which is better, Yoga Houses or Batman and Robin?
Never seen Yoga Hosers.
Never seen Yoga Hosers.
If you guys want, I found it's completely free and legal on YouTube. Even the production company's like, just put this on YouTube. And I found that out after I rented it. Which pisses me off so much.
You gave them money. Did you give Kevin Smith some money?
Yeah.
But to be honest, Shaz, I'm just glad it's all uphill from here because there's not much worse you can do than this. Films you're going to make us watch.
I have Battlefield Earth on the list.
That's 98 episodes away. No, 96 episodes away. That's fine.
Yes, the 100 episode is going to be Battlefield Earth. And I do have some other stuff I can show to you.
Somewhere in there will be hopefully an episode of me ranting about Last Jedi. That'll be worth it.
It's on the list. Okay, so where can people guys find you, Andy?
So I am Andy Mac 9995 game on Twitter. The game is either before the numbers or after numbers. I lost the password to just Andy Mac 9995 and I can't reset it, so it's whatever that is. And Twitch, I am Andy Mac 9995 on there. That's where you can find me, or in Mark Freeman Zooms every month, where I just make inappropriate jokes and I apologize to everybody. I swear I'm a nice person and normal.
I mean, after our Yoga Houses episode, I'm pretty sure people are gonna question some stuff.
Hence why I started the episode off with that, because yeah. Okay. Moving on.
Yeah, Lee, where can people find you?
You can find me at Lee Pollero on Twitter. That's pretty much all I'm at.
Kai.
Yeah, and you can find me at @Arvo_Krenet at Twitter and Instagram and wherever you want to type in this name.
OnlyFans?
No, I don't have no OnlyFans.
Maybe he does.
I have to make this absolutely clear. I do not have an OnlyFans.
Yeah, nobody has an OnlyFans as far as we know. Alright, and me, I'm the YazMan300 on Twitter. MrYazMan300 got suspended for some reason. And you can find on my YouTube channel website, Twitter account, Yaz300 Pro, which is also on Instagram, Yaz300 Pro, and you can find this also on Anchor. I'm going to be posting up all the episodes now. They're going to be on Anchor and other podcast services. I'll see if I can get iTunes and Spotify, because Anchor can now do it easier for you to be available there. And on YouTube at MrYazMan300 Productions. So thanks guys for listening, and let's hope we get you guys back together again, because I know I want Andy to be for Battlefield Earth.
We're doing that on a day when I haven't got to go work after, so I can just get really drunk. Just
Good.
Yeah. And I know Kyle wants to revisit Samurai Cup also. That was an amazing experience. Alright, thanks guys for watching. I hope to see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Okay, bye.
That was amazing timing, yes.